Hi everyone, it's the night before Thanksgiving and I want to talk about the time when I was a child where I was asked to slaughter a turkey. And this memory was actually a memory that I had suppressed for a long time because it was traumatic for me. And I'm not sure what has triggered it into my conscious mind. I think it has something to do with being vegan over the last year and a half, maybe seeing some of the pictures of slaughter, but it was definitely an experience that I blocked out for a long time. So if you're one of my close friends and you're watching this, you probably didn't even know this because I really could not recall telling anyone. The only other person that knew would be my sister, my younger sister, because she was going through it with me. So I have to give you a little background first off, and I don't want to get into this too deeply, but my stepfather, I have two. The first one is passed away now, but he and my mom were together for the first, from the time I was 2 until the time I was 16. So that's 14 years of my life. He was a very wealthy guy, but he was also an alcoholic. And there was a lot of abuse that went on in our family, but there was a lot of psychological stuff that is just and that's part of the reason why I'm a counselor now, is because, it's sort of like you try to fix yourself, through knowledge and soul searching and helping others. But one time, so he lived in the city in Indiana. He lived in a city. He lived various places, but at first, when they got together, he lived in the city. And then he maintained an apartment there for a long time. But we had a yard area to the side of his apartment. And I'm sorry if I'm kind of pausing. I'm just going back into the memory now. And this is actually good for me to release it, but I thought I would do it on video since it is almost Thanksgiving, and I want to share my experience for people who have never seen an animal be killed, and for just for a reality check. It's a good reality check. So we were out. He decided to purchase a lot of farm animals to set up a Thanksgiving farm or something like that in the city, in his mind, because sometimes when you have too much money and you're eccentric anyway, then you dream these things up, right? So, and actually the idea in itself isn't bad, because we would have kids stop by, families stop by, people take pictures, because we were in the city, okay? And he created a fence that you could see through, a wire fence around this whole yard, and there's major roads of cars and stuff. And then we had I don't remember what other animals. I feel like there were other animals there that he sold later on, but I know there were turkeys. There were 2 turkeys, and he put bales of hay and all that kind of stuff there. So it got in the newspaper, it was kind of a spectacle, so to speak, in this city. And eventually, I don't remember if they told us they were going to kill them. I don't remember. I think they did. That would have been something he would have done, tell us that we're going to, that they're going to die or whatever. But I remember we would go and hang out with them and watch them and everything like that. And then and also if I cry, it's also a good thing because it's helping me release. So I don't try to censor myself too much in these videos, but so we had a stump, like a tree stump. I do remember that in the yard. And I believe it was just me and my sister at the time. I have 2 sisters and a brother. I don't know if they were with us that time, but I know for sure me and my younger sister were, and we were pretty small. I mean, I don't even know, like 7, 8 years old, and then my sister was like 5 or something. So, you know, by my standards, this is an absolute fucked up, crazy story, okay? You have these 2 children, and he goes and gets an axe. And I don't even think my mother was around, because I don't think that she could handle the situation. But yet, we were. So then I remember he was telling us that you just put the turkey's neck on the tree stump and you hold it down, and then you just like make a clean cut, you know, with the axe. And then he asked me to do it, or rather he told me to do it, and I remember probably just bawling my eyes out, standing there like, are you fucking out of your mind? But it was terrifying. It was like my worst nightmare. I do remember that. And you know, of course he would always kind of ridicule you for showing a lot of emotion, and so it was to make me feel like I was being silly or too sensitive because I didn't want to take an axe to this turkey's neck. And then I think he started to pass it to my sister, and she was just like bawling her eyes out too, so we were just both completely mortified. And he was just telling us, you know, this is what people do, this is what they're here for, turkeys are stupid anyway. And so then he just did it. And you know, it's not what they tell you that it is, okay? When they kill an animal, it's not and I'm sure that's not even the worst situation, but it's really disgusting. It really is. You know, these turkeys were beautiful, and you just hear them scream. And you know, like with a turkey, it doesn't actually die right away. So yeah, they do. They run around. They were running around the yard, and there was blood squirting out of their neck, and it was traumatic, you know. And what was even more traumatic was that he told us that we would have to eat the ones that he just killed. So not only was I asked to murder an animal, but then I was made to watch it, and then I was told that I had to eat it. And I remember being just mortified at the fact of thinking what they were cooking when I was eating were the turkeys that I had seen in the yard. And again, you know, as a kid, you just block things. You have to block things out because these are the adults, and these are your parents, and you know, you don't have an option, do you? So you just block it out. But I've recalled that recently, and then he put the dead turkey heads on the fence posts for like a week. So it's really sad. It's really sad to see an animal go from living to dying. And I'm really glad. I mean, it took me a long time really to be vegan because, you're just told that's how things are and block it out and eat it. And you don't see it. You don't usually see it when you just go to the store or a restaurant, do you? But hopefully my experience can help someone to see that there is a process, There is a process to taking another's life. And somebody's doing that for every turkey that you go to the store and you see just already packaged up and cleaned. There was a human being that killed that turkey and killed a lot of them. And that's not a normal person. There's not a normal person with a good heart that stands there and kills animals all day, And do you want to be considered that person? Because you're buying it, you're paying that person to do those things. So you're an accomplice. And I don't say that to be accusing, I say that because people need to acknowledge that. They need to come to terms with that, just like I did and every other vegan did. It's not an easy thing to come to terms with either, that you've been paying psychopaths to kill animals when you don't need to anymore, when you can go to the store and get tofurkey, when there's a whole section of substitute meats, whole section of substitute milks. We don't have to use animals in any way. We have fake leather, that looks just like leather. We have a substitute for everything that you could want. And so to keep doing it is just wrong, right? You can no longer say that you're doing it for survival, that you're doing it because you need to. No, you're not. You're doing it because it was programmed into you. And some people do it because they want to fit into society and they don't want to change. But change is a good thing, especially if change leads you back to your heart. Oh, my stand fell, so I'm holding it now. But so like I said, if change leads you back to your true self, then it's a good thing, and you shouldn't be afraid of that, because you're here to get back to your true self and to remember who you really are, and who you are is love, and who you really are is light and love, and not a being who wants to kill other living beings, because that's anti-life. And you are life, and you want to celebrate life and support life. So when you understand those things, then you realize that even especially applies to your diet, right? And you have to just become conscious of it. You can't just unconsciously go eat this stuff anymore, because the stuff that you're eating was a living being who wanted to live and had a right to live and share our planet. And you're interfering with another being's rights, and that's not good on so many levels. It breaks universal laws, and there's a reason that we were programmed to do these things. People say, or rather history says, that we've always done it like this, and we've always hunted, and that's what a lot of people's argument is for not going vegan. They say, oh, well, our ancestors hunted and we've always ate animals. Well, no, we haven't. That's a lie. That is a flat out lie. There were ancient civilizations on this very planet that were enlightened, that didn't eat animals, that lived in peace with all living things. That time of people eating animals came after the fall of consciousness, okay? After we were taken over by dark races of beings, okay? The most prevalent one being reptilians, and then there were the Greys too. But we shouldn't be eating animals. Those things were introduced to keep our vibration low, and they were introduced to keep suffering and fear and violence perpetuating on this planet for control. But it's time to stop now. We're back in the golden age. This is the beginning of the next golden age, and it's time to stop. All right. Thanks, guys. Happy Thanksgiving. I hope it's a cruelty-free vegan one.